Hi, Jeff. How are you today?
Afternoon, Sabrina. I am doing good. How are you?
Very good. So excited for our discussion. Learn a little bit more about you. Now, know we've gotten to chit chat here and there, but I think it's going to be great for the rest of the TAS team, the rest of FSA, and then obviously those who tune in get to know you a little bit more. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in. And again, many tribal leaders may be watching this and meeting you for the first time. So, how do you usually introduce yourself? Not just your role, but who are you and where do you come from?
Yeah, for those who don't know me, my name is Jeff Capoeman Jr. I am a member of the Quinault Indian Nation. I actually reside on the Quinault Reservation here in the state of Washington. I've grown up here all of my life and left briefly, came back to the reservation, and I think I will always reside by the river that my family has grown up on. So that is who I am. That's where I come from. Um, yeah, there's a lot more, but that is my ancestral roots.
I love that. Well, perfect. And I mean, just to dive a little bit more into that and taking us back a little bit, what is it like, or what was it like growing up there, and how has it shaped the way you see community and responsibility?
Yeah, so I grew up on a reservation, and I think a few members of our team can speak to that same experience, and of course, a lot of our constituents and the people that we serve can speak and understand that experience. So I think it goes a long way uh, in connecting and understanding that we all grew up, or for those of us that know, I grew up on a small reservation. The town I live in, Tahola, has a population of less than 1,000 people. My graduating class in Tahola actually had less than 20 individuals within that class. So very small, community-oriented upbringing. And so that's really shaped my understanding of community as a young person. I did leave briefly for undergraduate. I moved to Seattle for my undergraduate degree at University of Washington, and that was some severe culture shock. So I had a very limited worldview, and it expanded very, very quickly after I left, and kind of identified, grew into who I was, moved back home, and um, learned so much more, applying, what I learned outside of the reservation, what I've learned from other individuals that have grown up on reservations. It's just, there's so much more to learn.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And two, I mean, it's obviously led you to hold several roles within your nation, including budgeting, financial management, and often being in advisory spaces within those positions. And looking back now, what were some of those pivotal moments or lessons from, that chapter and even prior that really prepared you for the work that you're doing today?
Yeah. It, before I moved back to the reservation, my background wasn't in accounting or finance at all. I was pursuing a physics degree. I graduated with a physics degree, and then I had this sort of decolonizing moment, and a conversation with one of my mentors back on the reservation, and it was like my aha moment. Like, I need to find a way to throw myself into helping tribal communities, and that was my sort of leap from that path onto the path I'm on today. And so I talked around with members in my community and leadership there, and I found a role this was during peak pandemic. I found a role as the COVID financial specialist, and talk about trial by fire. My introduction to tribal finance and overall grants management was the administration of roughly 40 different COVID awards that came through the CARES Act and the various Infrastructure Act, the ARPA awards, and so many different things that were administered through the tribe, and things that I'm proud of for administering on behalf of the tribe. While I was there, we constructed $10 million worth of infrastructure for new homes. We provided tribal member assistance through those awards. We constructed new facilities for the COVID pandemic and various other facilities, and that also led into investments into some of our enterprises that I kind of just, it all started from there and expanded to so much more within the tribal government. I've been learning, or from there, I learned so much more about, self-governance and all the things that tribes that we work with are all facing. So, completely 180 sort of trajectory, trial by fire, and I've been on this journey of growth and learning history of my tribe, other tribes, self-governance, and just all of the overall governance issues that tribes across the U.S. face. And so it's been a great journey, and I'm very appreciative of the tribe for the opportunity that it gave me, and kind of expanding out and learning about other tribes with FSA. I'm really excited for this next chapter.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I started with my tribe a little before COVID, and that was kind of the very same situation is, oh, here you go. Here's a pandemic. Here's a lot of money. You have community needs to attend to. What are you going to do, right? That was very similar for me, was head-on grant management. Here you go, and don't mess up.
And I really don't think there's anything out there that can prepare you for that. It has to be introduced through that direct experience with the tribal government. Halfway through my experience with the tribe, I went and pursued my master's degree in accounting. And even through that, it didn't touch nowhere near the depth of administering various different grants for a tribal organization. Even in governmental accounting, most governments, local municipalities, federal governments, and other forms of government don't have the unique situation that tribes have, where they are directly responsible for the economic welfare of themselves without a tax base. And so I remember talking to one of my professors about enterprise component units, and he was like, well, no, that usually governments don't run for-profit businesses. I was like, yes, tribal governments do. And so it's just, tribes face such a unique situation that can only be understood through direct experience.
Absolutely. Well, and you do mention, like, you get into academia and you bring up things to even like your professor level, and they're like, wait, what? And then we're having to navigate that space too, like at that level. I hear similar stories like that on people who are currently pursuing their degrees, and they're like, people have no idea. Like, this is a whole new world. And so.
And a lot of it rises from, the era of self-governance, and even back to the definition of what a tribal nation is through those treaties that we've executed with the federal government. That unique definition of domestic foreign nation. We reside within the U.S., but we are technically considered foreign nations that have the right to self-govern. So there's so many, niche and nuanced aspects of running a tribal government that you just won't find the experience in academia or anywhere else.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Unless you're very specific on, hey, I'm studying Indian country and in this way, then exactly what you said, you're not going to get that anywhere else. Well, kind of speaking about, leadership and, helping in these high level functions of your tribe, were there like who really poured into you early on? Any family members? It sounds like you had some mentors, any past tribal leaders. Um, really, what did, those people instill in you that you carry into, whether it was at Quinault or whether it's here at FSA, but what really helped shape your leadership there?
Yeah, I can name so many people that I worked with early in my years with Quinault. Um, uh, and there's been so many leaders that are prominent on the more national stage. Fawn Sharp and Tyson Johnson, they were really pivotal in, um, encouraging me to come back to Quinault and working for Indian country. And even in my years working there at the tribe, I learned so much about self-governance through them. And as soon as I made more introductions into the tribal space, and different people that have worked at Quinault for a long number of years, it's just there's so much depth. Um, I don't want to. It's not a unique experience for me to say that there's depth within my tribe. There's depth within every single tribe, and so much history to learn working for your own tribe. And so uh, through my experience working with people that have worked with the Quinault Indian Nation for decades, that was just such a great learning experience for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and now that, you've joined FSA, you're on the Tribal Administrative Services team, you've served your own nation. I mean, what really drew you to this work at a broader level? Because now, you're supporting multiple tribes across different systems, everyone has different needs. We have those complex conversations, really stepping into kind of a bigger realm here. Um, Tell me about that. How's it been? How do you stay grounded in your work? Tell me all about that because we don't
It
get to
is,
chit chat a little bit too much about the inner workings and all the good things that you're
and the
doing now.
transition. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
transitioning from being on the government side to consultant side. It's been, very early on into it, but it's been exactly what I was hoping to see. Um, I, uh, at a certain point, working for an organization for an extended period of time, you find cyclical patterns. And so at a certain point, you kind of feel like you're on a treadmill. And what I was very curious about is what other cyclical patterns exist out in Indian country.
Mhm.
Who in Indian country has found how to break those patterns, and who has found ways to break those chains of colonization, and um, the challenges that were imposed upon them, uh, you know, historically and systematically, really. So what really drove me from working for my tribe was a want and need to learn more about what is out there and what other tribes are doing, what challenges are they facing. I view this both as not an opportunity to help other tribes from what I've experienced, but also for those tribes to help me grow and learn. What was successful for them, what are their pain points, um, and I guess my overall goal at the end of the day is to um, it maybe not even a goal. It doesn't sound achievable, but trying to understand if there is a standardized um, MO of operations for tribes. Because it gets back to that point, understanding how to operate a tribe. You don't see that in academia. There's no textbook. Uh, there is no guide on how to run a tribal government. So the only way to understand what does and doesn't work is to get out there and experience what other tribes are experiencing today. And so that's my goal, to conversely help tribes and those tribes will hopefully help me learn, and I can apply that knowledge across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think coming onto the task team, you're already designated as a leader in within our team. How would you describe your leadership style, whether that's within our team or when it's working with tribes who may be stretched thin or trying to modernize or, tackling complex problems? How would you say you lead?
Yeah, one of my mentors, one of my favorite sayings from them is seek to understand before you do anything else. That's how I would describe my approach to many problems where I'm interacting with other individuals, whether that's through a training effort or working with a tribal government or a business committee. I like to seek to understand before I approach a problem, and um, I think that goes a long way because it's a very hands-off approach for leadership. It allows staff, it allows tribes the autonomy they need to grow and learn themselves, and it allows me a chance to see what pain points are for them, what their successes are, and then just very gently nudge or provide advice in potentially improved direction. So the overall leadership style of preference is hands off, and observe for a period of time before intervening at all.
Of that. And just to kind of play that is, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, is part of our role here in the TAS team is stepping into those big complex conversations, after we've observed, after we've learned, and we have to do that with humility, right? So what are your best tips for really managing the nuances of client relationships, and how do you stay grounded in the overall work that we do?
Yeah, I mean, overall, the intent is to always respect a tribe's sovereignty, and to always respect the right to self-govern. Again, with the hands-off approach and taking some time to observe and understand pain points. What we can do as contractors and as consultants to respect both the autonomy of tribes and their right to self-govern, and to provide advice through that process, is to just facilitate a conversation. We shouldn't be driving them to a direction, but we should be, helping them come to their own conclusion realistically, all while making sure that they don't touch a fire. So that has been a world of whiplash for me, but I have seen various styles of interaction between consultants and tribes through my experience with the Quinault Indian Nation, and I have learned what work from consultants is lasting, and what kind of gets thrown out the door. And those very gentle nudges and nudges that you can provide tribes in directions that they have decided on themselves. Those very gentle nudges provide the most long-lasting change.
Absolutely. All good stuff. And just really looking ahead, when you think about the future for yourself, for your family, as a leader within your nation, I know you do a lot of work still with them, and even for Taz, there's a lot going on. What do you think really excites you? What keeps you going? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. I'm going to nerd out on a very technical piece here. I came to Taz with experience with budgeting and with experience in indirect cost rate proposals, and just doing an overall fund balancing exercise. What is new to me, what excites me the most, is the 105L service line that we have, and sort of the next steps of 105L. That is my current passion. It is a very small aspect of what we do at FSA, but I think there's so much to explore and learn with tribes together through the 105L service line.
And for those who are watching, real quickly, 30 seconds, can you explain 105L just so we know what you're geeking out over?
Yes, absolutely. So 105L is a subsection of self-governance agreements that permits, or not permits, but obligates the federal government to pay for facilities costs for tribes. And so at my tribe, what I saw was frequent requests for capital expenses. Our roof is falling apart. We need to replace it. This wall has mold. We need to replace all of the siding. These stairs are out of date. We need to replace all of these stairs. These are all neglected facilities that tribes currently pay for on an emergency basis. And so thinking of it from that perspective, the tribes have always been paying for their facilities. 105L is kind of the introduction for the federal government to pay for the facilities that they are obligated to pay for. And so understanding that, it is in the best interest of tribes to ensure that the federal government is paying for as much of the facilities that they own and operate on behalf of the federal government. So ensuring that the tribes are getting their appropriate fair share of 105L reimbursements, I think is kind of the next step in the 105L world.
Gosh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're so glad to have you. You've joined us. How long has it been? 6
months. I think about 6 months now.
Awesome. Yeah, so excited to have you here. And anything else before we close out that anyone who's watching that you would want them to know about?
That one's a tough one.
I had to throw you a curveball there, Jeff.
Yeah, you did throw me a self-reflection curveball. No, I guess in closing, I am excited to continue my learning journey and my journey in exploring challenges and successes within Indian country. I'm so glad I have sort of veered from my path of separation from Indian country and kind of re-emerge myself into tackling problems across Indian country, and hopefully, the lessons we can all collaboratively learn help all of us at home within our own reservations, because that's the goal at the end of the day, is bettering the lives of people within your reservation.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for your time today.